I'm sure you've heard a dozen times and a dozen different things about nutrition as it relates to type 2 diabetes. Well, let's talk about some things that actually work and how to become a fat burner. I'm C, health coach and herbalist. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, YouTube, or email. Insulin dictates the fuel that is used. The body uses glycogen from the liver and muscles, and when that is low, it goes to fat burning. Typically, sugar burning mode is if we have a lot of glucose in the blood, and high glucose intake suppresses the body's ability to burn fat, which leads to fat storage. When blood sugar is low, the body can go into fat burning mode, ketosis. Now, I don't promote any particular diet. If I had to lean toward any, it would be between the blood type diet and the keto diet. No diet is 100%. You still have to listen to your body, and at the end of the day, you just need to eat real food and a variety of foods that will nourish and help our body. So what can you start today? Instead of going through the drive-through or eating some frozen carbs like waffles, French toast, sticks for breakfast, how about a green smoothie? You can check out my smoothie videos for a ton of recipes. Or what about last night's leftovers? Or what about beans or meat and veggies? Yep, for breakfast. There's no standard for what is breakfast food and what isn't. Breakfast is a meal that we should try to really get the protein in so we can get satisfied so we're not hangry later. Another thing we can do is take some nuts or some beef jerky to work in case we do get hungry so we can get satisfied. It's not about getting full or stuffed, it's more about being satisfied. So let's look at lunchtime. What if at lunch we have a soup and a salad? And our salad has a simple salad dressing like olive oil or vinegar dressing. And then maybe for our drink, instead of a soda, we have half sweet, half unsweet tea or something. And at dinner, what if we had a salad with some meat of your choice and fruit like berries, mango, pineapple, and some nuts and seeds sprinkled on it? And then instead of a soda, what if we had some herbal cold tea like nettle and lemon, which is just too easy to make? When you become a fat burner, you may not even want dinner or one of the three meals depending on your schedule. Some may not have dinner when they have a veggie or a protein for lunch, and some may not have lunch when they have like protein, meat, and greens for breakfast. And the reason for that is because protein satisfies. Now, I don't want to encourage a large amount of proteins. The plates or the meals that I encourage is really about 40 to 50% greens, 25 to 30% protein, and then the other portion is nuts, seeds, healthy fats, or fruit. Healthy fats does include saturated fats like your olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, walnuts, fatty fish like your sardines. We don't want to be afraid of fats, but our unhealthy fats is those things that we definitely should not have are the partially hydrogenated oils. We get a lot of that from our fast food or sometimes those packaged frozen goods. Now, what I do find is like a lot of people don't like to eat greens. So I suggest you start with the greens that you do like. Oftentimes people like green beans or peas, right? So at least starting there is good. There's so many ways that you can hide greens also when you cook, like with stir fries. So to speak on dairy, you want to keep dairy if you can tolerate it. You want to keep it plain, nothing added. So when you buy your yogurt, yeah, you want to keep plain yogurt. And the things that you can add to that is fruit. Welcome to the new sweet. You might also want to consider limiting the amount of cheese. And if you are going to get cheese, get aged cheese, AGED, because aging typically has a lower amount of carbs and sugar. We want to strive for eliminating processed carbs in our diet and then just limiting carbs in general. However, beans and legumes are good for the resistant starch. But remember to soak those so that way your body is able to process the nutrients in that food. I'm not a person that likes to create a lot of rules, but because things have changed so much with what they call food, it's unfortunate that we really do have to take some time to think about what are we eating and thinking about how will this really nourish my body or if it even will nourish my body. And honestly, a lot of these things that are in boxes and bags will not do that. Another good thing is to do mindful eating. And I'm sure that most of us heard this because a lot of times we do a lot of emotional eating, whether it's boredom, stress, or whatever it may be. We want to make sure that we just pause and take some time to ask ourselves, why are we eating this? We don't want to do the emotional eating because a lot of times we end up beating ourselves up for eating something when we were caught up in our emotions. So those are some things you can start today by just looking at breakfast, for example, right? And trying to get satisfied at breakfast. Taking healthy snacks to work so you're not relying on the vending machine. Also, taking your own drinks to work or making a really healthy smoothie Typically, if insulin is chronically elevated, you're stuck in burning mode. If you are eating several meals, 3 meals isn't good enough, and you're eating a lot of snacks in between, you're trying to get a bedtime snack even in, or you eat a lot of processed or fast foods, then you might have elevated insulin and therefore being a sugar burner. And if insulin is chronically elevated, it's hard to lose weight. And so to become that fat burner, we need to start getting satisfied at our meals. We need to start eating meals that really nourish the body. So that's why we want to look at, the protein and the greens. Let's take a look at supplementation here. Probiotics. There are certain strains of probiotics that can definitely help with type 2 diabetes, and I'm going to make a separate video on that. Certain probiotic strains also create vitamin B. So you're talking about getting help with your nerves and with energy at the very least, and your brain function and so forth. So just want to make sure that you're comfortable with the source. This is one of the reasons why I talk about fermenting a lot, because not only is it easy, but it provides you with some probiotics. Before refrigeration, this is the way people kept their food. So in this last, 100, 150 years, we've been missing out on a lot of probiotic strains that actually help nourish our gut, right? And this nourishment provides better immunity, better brain function, better disease resistance. So really consider fermenting, because it's just too easy to do. I believe that I can confidently say that most, like 99% of people, especially in the Western culture, are magnesium deficient. So magnesium is really going to help with so many different processes depending on what type of magnesium you take, because you have to look at, a lot of people are constipated. Magnesium can help with that. A lot of people have neuropathy. Magnesium can help with that. With your blood glucose. I mean, all these things. You can help with your sleep, help you manage stress. Herbs. I'm not going to recommend um, any as a blanket, because it really depends and where you're at in your journey. Because there are some people that will take maybe a combination of anema, fenugreek, cinnamon, and because there are some people that will take what word should I use? The stronger herbs, but there's some that will never touch those. It's considered fasting when you're able to comfortably eat 2 or 3 meals a day with no snacks. The way you're going to be able to do this is with eating as mentioned above. We also want to start movement that isn't painful. We can try the high intensity interval training, which is good 1 to 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be for 30 minutes or an hour. It could be for 20 minutes and whatever works for you. So if it's walking at a normal pace and then speed walking, and you bring it down to a regular walk, speed walk, regular walk, then so be it. So all of these things can take some time depending on where you're at, but you can definitely get there. So take time. Actually, let's make time to listen to our body and support it with what it needs. So I want to thank you for watching, and remember, take care of yourself.